Yo, what's good, YouTube? So, I'm sure by now a lot of you guys have seen the Mario movie, and I wanted to get a review up earlier, but then I decided to let the movie like sink in. I saw it opening day, and then I had a chance to watch it again, so I've seen it twice now, and I really gathered my thoughts and wanted to give, the best review possible. And overall, I thought this movie was pretty great. I thought it was worthy of the hype, and it had a lot of great qualities to it. It did have some issues as well, but I'll be going over all of those today. So pretty much here's my thoughts on the Mario movie. So off the bat, there was a lot of great stuff in this movie. Starting off visually, I mean, it was just beautiful. It was easily Illumination's best animated movie, like visually, and probably just overall too, now I'm thinking about it. I mean, it probably was their best movie, but the visuals were just stunning. Everything from the environments to the color palette to the facial expressions. It was all great. I thought that they completely nailed it in the animation department. Also, the music was just awesome. It had like all of these Mario arrangements from spanning from all of the games from the series, and they were like these like grand epic like orchestral arrangements, a lot of medleys. And every time something in the movie happened that like referenced a specific game, they would play some music from that game. Like when Mario gets the Tanuki suit, they played Super Mario Brothers 3 music. So I thought that was a really nice touch. Something that fans can definitely appreciate. Of course, there was some licensed music in the movie as well. But I didn't think any of the choices were bad or anything. It's not like they took the most trending song on TikTok currently and just slapped it in the movie. They picked some solid songs, for the scenes that they did use licensed music. And I know that there's gonna be a lot of, purists out there who think that the entire movie should have just been Mario music. And that's a fine take to have, that's not a bad take or anything. But at the end of the day, this is a mainstream movie with the general public still in mind. So there's going to be some mainstream elements in the movie. And I'd say the music was like the most like mainstream thing about it. So yeah, it really wasn't a big deal. It didn't bother me or take me like out of the scene or anything. And the voice acting was also really great across the board. I don't know what it was about the trailers, but they did not do Chris Pratt justice at all. I mean, as soon as the movie started, that within the first scene of the movie, his voice, you could tell he had an accent. He was actually doing some real, legitimate voice acting. A lot of people will say that you're not voice acting if you don't change up your voice and like try to create like a character out of it. But Chris did that. Like, he legitimately did that. It did not sound like Chris Pratt just talking into a mic. It sounded like he was trying to be Mario, and I could appreciate his performance. I thought it was really good. Obviously, Jack Black killed it. He knocked it out of the park. There's one part in the movie where he sings, and I just thought that was like the perfect way to implement Jack Black. Like, if you're gonna hire Jack Black for a movie, you have to go all out with him. And having him sing the Peaches song, it was so great. I wasn't expecting it, and I laughed so hard in the theater. The whole theater was dying. It was great. Keegan-Michael Key as well was really funny. Every time that he opened his mouth, he had a bunch of great one-liners. So everyone really gave a great performance in the voice department. So, all of the main aspects of what like an animated movie should be, the animation and the voice acting, it was all great. My issue with this movie, and I think with a lot of other people, their main issue as well, was the story and narrative. So I will say throughout the story, there were a ton of great references, just all throughout this movie, from like blatantly obvious ones to little tiny Easter eggs. There was a reporter who looked like Pauline. Bowser had his wedding suit from Odyssey. Every time Mario punched something, it looked like his fair from Smash Bros. In Brooklyn, there was a little store called Disc Coon. Like, come on, a fucking Disc Coon reference in the Mario movie? That to me is awesome. Like, that to me has the fans 100% in mind. Just so many references, and you just find more and more on each rewatch. I mean, there's just tons in this movie. But overall, the narrative and the plot were pretty cut and paste, standard Mario fare. I mean, there was really not a lot of creativity. I don't want to say like lack of creativity, because the movie did have a ton of creativity, like in its writing and animation and everything. But like plot wise and story wise, it was pretty much what you would expect from a Mario story, which is fine because, you know, that's what we expect. But I think in the context of a movie, I would have liked to see like a little more unique twist to the story. You know, it's Mario, it's Bowser, it's Peach, and then you have the other characters thrown in as well. And I just think that, you know, it was serviceable, it was entertaining, and like all of the elements that I described before that were great, like the animation, the music, the voice acting, it really carried like a weaker story and plot. And I also thought the pacing was like kind of weird. Like, it never felt like scenes really had a chance to develop. And there wasn't like, you know, like as much character interaction as there could have been, I think. I feel like they showed a scene and then they kind of just blow through it, and then immediately it's the next scene and it's just progressing the plot, you know, like rapid fire pace throughout the entire movie. And it wasn't like bad, but it definitely is the weakest part of the movie, because by the time you get through the entire movie, you kind of want it to be a little longer. You know, you want a little more time with these characters, with this world, you know, with all this stuff that has been presented to you in like a 90-minute package. And it's all great, it's all entertaining, and you love sitting there and watching it. But afterwards, you kind of feel a little, I don't know, I guess you feel like you desired a little more. At least that's how I felt after watching it. But like I said, everything throughout the movie was so fun and so entertaining that it kind of like weighs it out. So, you know, I'm not gonna say it was the greatest movie of all time, because it definitely could have had a stronger story and plot and everything, but, you know, it definitely has something for every Mario fan, from, you know, entry-level casual fans to lifelong Nintendo fans and Mario historians. Like, it has something that everyone will enjoy, and not just one thing. Like, there's tons of things that anyone will enjoy watching this movie. So for that reason, I think that it did its job. Also, I think that they could have utilized Luigi a little more. I don't know, it just felt like in a lot of the scenes he was in, because, you know, in the movie, like, Luigi goes on one path, Mario goes on another path, and they kind of like have to convene, you know, throughout the movie. But all the scenes where Luigi was like doing his side of the story, some of the scenes that he just didn't even feel like he was like the star of the scene. Like, you know, literally the star of one scene that he was in was this Luma in a cage, and it was like, you know, talking about like the existential dread of life and all this stuff, and like that was like the highlight of the scene for me. And Luigi was just kind of, he like took a back seat to it. So I wish that they had utilized Luigi a little more, because Charlie Day like put on a great voice performance as well. And I don't know, I hope that if there's a sequel, that Luigi really gets like more chance to shine. He did have like some cool moments toward the end of the movie, but for the most part it focused on like Mario and Peach and Bowser, and then Luigi was kind of like a side character. It felt more like, same with Donkey Kong, but I didn't really expect Donkey Kong to have like a huge role or anything. But I was expecting Luigi to have like more of a main role, since he had like his own like subplot, really. But it felt like in a lot of the scenes, like he could have like, you know, been more present, I guess. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. Overall, I think that the positives definitely outweighed the negatives of the story and everything, and I think that there was just so much to love about this movie, especially if you're just a true Mario fan. I feel like they genuinely had the fans in mind, and they also had like the general public in mind, and they kind of just blended it together pretty much perfectly, I would say. And this movie 100% for me lived up to the hype. It was pretty much exactly what I wanted, minus, you know, maybe a little more creative story wise, but just the references, the animation, the music, the voice acting, it was all great. It was all just awesome to finally see a genuine animated Mario movie on the big screen. And the fact that Illumination did this and, you know, really like blew my expectations out of the water. Nothing but respect to them. The movie is doing fantastic at the box office right now. It's shattering records for animated movies. It's on track to do $1 billion+. It's a new era in cinema where we have taken the comic book MCU DC formula and injected it into video games, and it's like this whole new market now. So I really think that there is a big chance here to, you know, expand on this Mario movie. Not only with Mario, but maybe do like Zelda or something, you know, and see where it goes, because, you know, not everything has to be like an MCU that has to have like this huge grand, you know, universe of movies. But it would be cool to see this genre explored more, because I think it's a great market, and I think that if you really have passionate people working on these films, then you can really impress a lot of fans, make a lot of money. So yeah, overall I would give this movie like a 7.5 to 8, probably like an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 movie. You know, it had the weak story and weird pacing, but it was just so much fun. And like every time I think about this movie still, I just think about like fun references or Jack Black singing, or how gorgeous the animation was during the Rainbow Road scene, or, you know, it's all just positive thoughts. So I don't know how I'll feel about this movie 5 years from now. Maybe the story will really like weigh, you know, take its toll on me in a few years. I won't think it's as good because, you know, it's just a weaker story. But for now, man, I absolutely loved it. It lived up to the hype. I was so happy to see everything that happened on the big screen, and being in a theater full of Mario fans all cheering and having a great time. It was just awesome, man. It was an awesome experience. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the Mario movie. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Have you even seen it yet? And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video, because I'm going to be talking about the Mario movie again and going into more depth about, you know, where video game movies can go from here. So yeah, see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Deuces! Peaches, 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 peaches. It's still stuck in my head.